Hey, we are live. How's it going, guys? It's been a busy 24 hours with all the comic book and sci-fi movie trailers. We had Star Wars, we had Batman, Superman, bootleg, and we now finally have the high definition trailer. And with me, of course, is the one and only Sam, aka Black Iron underscore man. How's it going, man?
Going good. It's going good. We've had some pretty interesting information, or should I say, some pretty interesting previews the last couple of days. So it's really interesting to Let me get your take on it. What's your take on the two releases? I know you already did a reaction video to probably the Batman one and the Star Wars one. So I know everybody's seen your reaction. What do you think about it? Like realistically, what do you think?
All right. Before we jump into our breakdown here of Batman Superman, but I'll start off with Star Wars because that was a good trailer. To me, it's not as all shocking as a lot of people think. There were things in the trailer that got me. I love the scope that J.J. Abrams did. Especially when you saw, how big the Galactic Cruiser is and all that kind of stuff. I liked the fact that I just like that ending when Han Solo. You could almost feel the joy in Harrison Ford's face.
Kind of like, okay, we're back.
Yeah, exactly. That to me, that was sealed it. Now I know people were ripping me because I didn't recognize Mark Hamill's voice, and also I didn't know the line specifically. But you know what? I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I don't remember lines. So, and sorry, Luke was not my favorite character. So.
Well, no, the thing is, it's not even about remembering all the things that came before. It's just the idea that, there's this massive universe that's about to just like be broken wide open. When you start looking at exactly where they might be going with this, the people they're bringing in, the fact that they bring in Han Solo and they bring in Princess Leia back means that, and then you have the what's it called? The voiceover talking about how, which is obviously Luke Skywalker talking about how he has the power. He had what's it called? I'm sorry, his father had the Force. His sister had the Force. He has the Force, and then you also have the Force. So right away, I'm thinking, oh wow, Luke does not. And if you follow the universe at all, Luke, I don't think has any kids per se. So the only kids there that would have the Force, and the only twins that do have the Force, are both Janice and his twin sister, right? Which is basically the son and daughter of Han Solo and Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay.
I don't think he's even referring to him. I think he's referring to John Boyega's character. John Boyega is the black guy who's a stormtrooper. But again, you never know.
No, you never know, because the thing is, the it's a very interesting route they're going with. It can really go a lot of ways with this, because the whole saga of the Force versus the dark side of the Force. There's a lot of story, a lot of content. They can go with almost any storyline they want to pick off. They can really go with that, because there's a lot of content. But I think what I really enjoyed about it is just the kind of somber tone they took with it. And I think that's the commonality between both of these previews, is that they went kind of somber. They didn't go all Transformers, blow stuff off, Michael Bay. Yeah, it was. Okay, let's start from something real. Let's start talking about the Force. They just have a conversation about it. Let's see people running around, people in TIE fighters, people doing all these. It's like, okay, they highlight everything you expect from the traditional. This is the big thing, right? The traditional series, but not the prequel episodes. So I think it's a return. It's a return to normalcy.
All right. Cool. Let's jump into Batman vs Superman. Now, I'm going to share some screens because I took some screen caps of the trailer. And if you've seen the bootleg trailer, I highly suggest watch the high def trailer, because it really showcases a lot of visual imagery and a lot of stuff that Zack Snyder actually did in this trailer that basically sets it in a very different tone. So I'm going to start off with this. So in the trailer, there's a lot of voiceovers, right? And you hear different people's voiceovers. There's one, the beginning voiceover, and somebody says it might be a famous newscaster, I just can't remember who, talks about the fact that, isn't it interesting that the most powerful man on the planet is wrapped around a lot of controversy, right?
Mhm.
And some people was like, maybe he's here for good. I'm just paraphrasing, right? And you have the scene here. Now you have some people with skull faces. Some people are saying that this is the scene. This is Superman during the Day of the Dead, in Mexico, or it might be worshippers of Superman.
Yeah, it might be just a death cult.
Yeah, a death cult. And that's the thing. There's a lot of that kind of imagery going around. So, but you can also see Superman's face. He's kind of like, man, like, I don't think I signed up for this, which brings something else to mind. Because in Man of Steel, Park Kent talked about everything you hear in this trailer. And he said, people are not going to like you the way you think.
Yeah.
And the next thing you hear in the trailer is you hear talk about from Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's the famous astrophysicist. I could distinctly hear his voice. He says, Superman, or he is coming and he's changed our dynamics of who we are in the universe. And then they show the scene of him this is probably an ICBM, or at least a rocket at the very barest minimum. This looks like a Russian rocket. Yeah. And he basically lands and he's just like, he's bringing it down. And so he says that it cuts to black.
I was trying to read that.
Trying to read the signal. It cuts to black, and then you now hear Holly Hunter say, "Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely," or something like that. In that kind of, she used the word, a couple of absolutes. But here's the most interesting part about this. You see the soldiers who are here, they're not US soldiers. They look like a little neo-Nazi, right? The helmets. Now look at the crest on their arm.
Yeah, you don't catch that from the if you're not watching the HD version, right?
Yeah, it's an S. I'm thinking this is also an S. I think this is an S cult. Now some people are like, has Superman gone bad? Is he evil? I don't think so. I think this is an S cult. This is a cult that probably worships him, and he's probably here to either try and talk them away. I'm just guessing. Again, we don't know. Yeah. But it's showing you a lot of different dynamics and how people are viewing him.
But I think it's really interesting that they've taken this route, because right before this came out, right before this movie came out, there was the comic book series, Justice League Gods Among Us, I think, right? It was called. Mm-hmm. And it's the whole concept that these guys, like, in Marvel, we call them mutants. But in DC, we call them metahumans. But I think they've taken it to the next level. It's like, these are gods. Like, the power they wield. These guys are God among humans. Like, no regular human being can stand up to them. And then you go, what does that mean? Like, if I can just walk out of my house and have one guy demolish the whole building because he was in the middle of a fight, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean as a regular person not to be able to come home? What kind of hate would you have to that person? But then on the flip side, wow, that person just saved the whole entire world. So I think that they're really doing something interesting here, which is playing off that whole savior versus destroyer.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, comes the very next one. I apologize. I just need to find my image. Here we go. The very next one, where it starts off from the scene where the statue is, but Lex, you hear Jesse Eisenberg's voice. Now, he delivered the line so well, I think, even though, it sounds like him, but he said it so well. It says, I'm paraphrasing, goes, now we know the devil doesn't come from hell beneath us. And he kind of pauses. He comes from the sky. And then they show this scene and you're like, oh, that was like a classic Lex line. I'm like, They got that in there.
Isn't that exactly what Lex is, though? Lex is basically, his point, almost very similar to Bruce Wayne, is we have these guys, these essential gods, basically entities which no law can basically confine among human beings. Are they gods? Are they angels? Or are they demons? And Lex is like, you know what? Screw this. We're humans. This is Earth. We deserve to rule this planet. End of story. I don't like Superman.
Yeah. I mean, it's very true. And that line, literally, as it comes up, I'm like, that is exactly correct.
You can tell there's been a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, so this is the scene that cuts in between all those different images. And basically it's panning and moving forward to a statue of Superman. Now, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's dark. Because you watch the bootleg trailer, if you watch it, it looks pretty well lit to me as far as I'm concerned. It's just nighttime. And this is a statue of Superman. And it looks like it's a memorial with all the names of the people who passed away. Yeah, kind of like like the Vietnam or 9/11 memorials, that kind of thing. And then it now comes forward and you see on the statue it says false god. So and throughout this time, at this point in the trailer, there's a lot of chanting, no, go, or something like that, something to that respect. And then you see the false god, and then the trailer stops, and this is the flip side of the trailer. This is where it switches to the second gear, because it's all about, first part's about Superman and how he's changed the whole dynamic, and then it goes right here to Ben Affleck as Batman.
This is when it gets interesting.
And then this is where you hear Jeremy Irons as Alfred basically quote the lines. Again, I'm paraphrasing, guys, because I don't know it offhand, but he goes, basically, he said something to do with fear and something else, and despair lead to I don't know if you can find the lines, but I'm literally paraphrasing it. I just lost it completely. Anyone who can help me out with the lines for this, let me know. But he says something to the effect of fear and despair lead good men into becoming cruel. And that statement, I think he's referring directly to Bruce Wayne. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, I'm bringing spoilers and rumors from all other movies.
You see, Lou Rod just came out with the most memorable line, but we're not going to touch on that until later.
Where is it? I don't see it.
No, the Q&A. Like he
okay, yeah, I see it.
We'll come to that later, because that's this whole thing.
So he says that line, right? And as he's saying it, Batman is staring here, and he looks at the Batsuit. Now, before we even get into it, I think Ben Affleck looks like the older Bruce Wayne to me. You know what? Whatever. I mean, I didn't really have that much reservations.
He
but
looks a lot more mature. You're right.
Yeah, he does look mature. But I think that line also refers to the fact that, because the word is that Batman has not been practicing for a while, and rumors from Suicide Squad is that basically the reason why Joker and Harley Quinn are not together is because Joker killed Robin, and she was just kind of pissed that he killed the kid. Mm-hmm. And Batman also quit because he killed, a kid died at that point. So it could be one of those things. I could be completely wrong, but the intensity in that speech right there, as he looks at the Bat costume, which looks fucking awesome, by the way. I mean, it looks intense and it looks on point.
It looks like armor. It looks like real, like medieval armor. Yeah,
it's like cool. See the layers of stitching all around.
Yeah. Wow, it looks like chainmail. That's the base. Let's just put it that way. It looks like chainmail.
Chainmail, yeah.
Like microfiber chainmail. It's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, and you can barely see the Bat logo on there. It's
yeah.
It's the first time we're seeing it. We've seen it in other images before this, but yeah.
But this is the time. This is the first time we've seen it in the movie lighting.
Yes.
Yeah, but and we're going to see something interesting, because you notice with Batman seeing this kind of blue hues with in Superman scene is kind of orange, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And then we get this scene here where Batman looks like he's holding something. Now, some people think it's a rifle, and we'll get to that in a second. And you can see here, there's a lot of graffiti here. It's an old, house with pillars. It says Joe plus Carly. I don't know what this ick is, but nothing here that depicts anything that we know. But we know this is Batman there, and he's basically looking up. And the trailer cuts to this. We see the Batwing also. So there is the Batwing in this movie. It's in there. And
sorry. I thought you meant Batwing as in Batwing. But yes, you mean the vehicle.
Vehicle, yes. The Batwing. and then it cuts to this quickly, which is the Batmobile. And then there's an intermediate shot where there's people shooting at Batman, and he shoots them. So I don't know if they die or whatever, since people complain that in DC universe people die anyhow, even though they die a lot in Marvel, they just don't mention it at all. So you see there's another explosion. This is the main bigger explosion, and then we get this shot of Batman coming out of some wreckage, and you have to see this in motion because homeboy is huge.
Yeah, nah, Ben Affleck is like, dude. I think the last time, what's her name? His wife. What's his wife's name again? Jennifer Garner, right?
Yeah.
The last time she was on an interview, she said his arms are 17 inches. His biceps are 17 inches wide. And this dude is what, like 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'4".
That is ridiculous, man. That is just so ridiculous. This dude is bulked up for this part. He's definitely playing an older, bulkier, like, you know, a Batman that is like just
a bruiser.
Yeah, a bruiser, a world weary kind of, you know, let's just get the job done kind of Batman. And that's him right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like he looks massive. I mean, granted, there's still armor and a muscle suit on top of that, but you still need a lot of muscle to actually fill in the muscle suit itself. And then we get this shot. Now, that is a sniper rifle.
Yeah,
that is a sniper rifle. So a lot of people are like, why is he holding a sniper rifle? Now, remember, this thing has some correlation or some scenes from Dark Knight Returns, which is also this image right here. I just want to quickly go to that. So this is not the first time we've seen Batman carry a rifle. So doesn't mean he's actually shooting it. So just want people to know that he's carrying a rifle. Doesn't mean he's actually shooting it. Yeah, using it in any form or fashion. So, and also this might be from that scene where he was down by the pillars, or continuation of that scene, or before, whichever one. The only thing I don't like about it is that the suit looks kind of a little awkward at the back here. It looks like it might be stiff, but I could be wrong. You can see here, that area here.
Yeah, it looks kind of stiff in the back and the neck right there.
Yeah. And then we get into the final sequence.
Oh man!
And just looking at it, this thing looks awesome. Now, somebody did say that it looks like this suit is built on top of his regular suit. So it's almost like I believe this is Kryptonian armor that he basically weaponized. Repurposed for himself. So and again, with the Kryptonian armor, it's the same way. You could take it off, and on top of his regular suit. So, but you could see the eyes light up, and I mean, he looks bulky, big, ready to fight. And then you see Superman, and then he cuts out. Like, this is a great shot right here.
Yeah.
I mean, Snyder does a very good job at giving you solid shots, and Superman's looking at. This is where he says, "Tell me,
do you bleed?" And then he ends it with,
no, not even there. And then it cuts to this. Superman goes from there, boom, lands on the ground, and then it cuts to black, and he goes, "You will bleed."
Oh, now, God, that was the best line in the whole thing. That was the best line, because it's basically, you would expect anyone else to say that. Any other super-powered meta-human mutation, Batman-wellish, whatever, but not Batman that challenges Superman. A regular Joe Batman telling Superman, "You're gonna bleed."
So what do you think about the voice? What do you think about his voice there?
I think it's the Batman voice that's needed.
See, now it is it does sound slightly modulated. It doesn't sound like it's him growling himself.
Yeah. No, it sounds as though it's the way you would expect a Batman voice to sound. Christian Bale's voice was a little comical, right? I should say Christian Bale's Batman voice was a little comical, right? Because he went kind of deep and scratchy. But being more mature, being like a deeper voice, it's kind of what we've seen portrayed in the cartoons, right? Batman has this like really deep baritone kind of voice that, when he says something, people listen to him. It's almost like he's an opera singer or something. So it makes sense. It makes sense that you're going to try to go for the same sound and feel.
Now, Leroy says MMA Batman.
Put him in the chokehold.
And Bradley Larcher says, "Why do we have to wait all till next year? Not fair." I agree, but I think, you know what? If everything comes the way they want to make their world, I find their world more fascinating. We'll talk about that in a little bit more here. And of course, Leroy says, "First, do you bleed?" And then he said there's an Easter egg being the Riddler mark on the pillars.
I don't know if it's an Easter egg. It's the mark in the underground scene. If you go, but yeah,
it is the Riddler. It is the Riddler.
Oh, actually, sorry, it was the regular color. Yeah, it is the Riddler. It is the Riddler.
You're on point, Lou. You're on point. So this is in Gotham City.
On point.
So this has to be in Gotham City, and that's the mark of the Riddler. Don't know if there is anything else we can depict from here.
Nah,
Nothing
sure.
else. I'm
No,
sure in the movie, while you're watching the movie, if you watch it a million times, which I'm sure I will, you will find those scenes. But Lou Rod pointed out that's pretty good, man. I totally missed that one.
no, same here. I thought it was a regular question mark. I just breezed through it. It is the Riddler question mark.
Real question mark, yeah. So there's that, and then let's see. Bradley Lotcher said, "Could have sworn I heard them chanting Cahill while they were panning around the statue. Could be wrong. There was a couple of chants. Maybe I don't think they will chant his name, Kal-El.
You never know. Maybe he gave an interview because remember he's always been the guy who gave the interview, right? And the last Superman movie, he was in the process of giving an interview to Louis Lane, so that might be something that comes out of that. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just I don't think that's what I heard, but who knows?
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. But I mean, the imagery in this whole thing, like if I just scrolling back again,
I don't know. I think Batman stole the show, man.
No, I know Batman did. Batman, I think I agree with you. Batman stole the show. I think the very first half really described the whole movie for us like that, with just sentences and sentences, and then the other half was showing us what's the ramifications of what we're going to get. Because hearing all those lines from what's the scientist's name again? I just forgot his name.
It's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, thank you. Hearing him talk about how Superman displaces us, and then somebody in there says, "But what if he's just trying to help out?" You're having all these different conversations, and then you see this image here where it's like, I mean, literally, even if I was Superman, I'd be like, "Oh God, seriously, man."
But the whole idea of people worshiping him, if you think about it realistically, he's doing things that no other human being can do. He's doing things that basically, save our race as a whole. It's worth actually, paying attention and saying, people are probably going to worship a guy. People are going to try to, think that he's the second coming in some way or form. So it's not out. It's not out of the ordinary that they'll think they'll go in this route, especially since the comics already have something of that nature already going on. But it's.
I gotta give it to Zack Snyder though. He likes to do his cape porn. Because his capes are digitally created, so it rests normally. But whenever he does his action sequences, all digital capes, and they always flow constantly, like this one here in the sky. He likes his capes, but yeah, this scene to me is intriguing because it really sets up that
if you look at the way the scene is, if you look at the way the scene is, just look how dark Superman is in that scene, and all you see is the S.
Yeah, it is, but it also it shows the improvements they've done with the suits, because remember, the yellow wasn't as pronounced in the last movie. The reds were not as red as it is. So those kind of little things that were pretty solid. And then coming to just this side of the fence, and it reminds me of Daredevil, where it was, there were two sides to the same coin, which is the same thing. Batman, Superman are, basically the same thing in that sense. We have this, we just have this imagery of Batman that looks like he will terrorize anything around him completely. And I just got to go back to this whole sequence here.
Yeah, but it looks as though Batman is now in a Gotham that is basically dilapidated. It looks as though like you're saying, he's not been practicing for a while. It looks as though he's been in retirement, and this might be his, coming out of retirement to face this super or meta-human threat. So it's going to be very interesting to see the whole progression of this older Batman that might not have been out in the night for a long time, coming back and saying, you know what, how do I get that edge? Maybe that's what the gun is there for. Maybe it's him trying to, keep an edge against someone who is obviously faster, stronger, and just, overall just better at a better fighter than he is, because he just can't hold up against someone like a Superman. Maybe this is where he starts questioning, how do I get that extra edge? And that's where the suit comes into play. And it'll be interesting to see how a suit that most likely landed in Metropolis ends up in Gotham City. So how does Lex and Batman kind of do that interplay? Because Lex is in there, Bruce Wayne is in there. So how does that happen? So
you
see how all those things kind of play out and how he finally gets into that suit.
Oh no, definitely. And the fact that you get you know, we haven't seen Lex. I think when we get that trailer with Lex, most likely, I guarantee you the next trailer for this movie is coming December with Star Wars. It's not coming in the summer. It's December, and you don't need to have another trailer because the movie comes out next April, I think. So December is the next trailer. That's where you're gonna get your big Lex reveal, and and the honest truth is you don't need to show any villain because Lex is going to have a pawn that Superman has to fight other than Batman, and you don't need to show that until the movie comes out. I mean, we don't need to. But what I liked about this is because I remember, you know, and if you guys know, me and Juan have had so many different discussions, and Juan was not a big fan of Man of Steel. I was, and you know, and hearing just hearing those lines in the first trailer, to me, I'll tell Juan, if he's not here, is basically this movie is going to address all your concerns from the first one, especially with
what was his concerns with the first one?
You know, his concerns was that, okay, some of this to summarize quickly, he said, you know, Superman, there was a lot of death, and told because he didn't actually take care in like trying to fight somewhere else. And my argument was, the dude just put on the cape when Zod came, so he hasn't done any of those foreshadowing of I need to take this, move this here, and do things, you know, like that. He doesn't know how to do that yet. Second is also he shouldn't have killed Zod because Superman doesn't kill. I'm like, you know, he isn't Superman yet. As far as number one, number two, he's fighting a general who has better skill sets and also was increasing in power as time went on. Let's just be the way this movie is put in that practical sense. Let's just finish this job or else we're screwed. Remember, he was only fighting Zod. Imagine if he hadn't sent everybody else through the Phantom Zone. Yeah, but they were completely screwed.
But the question becomes, like, even with the Zod question, right? The question was, it's not only just killing Zod because it's going to get more powerful. It's basically, do you let him get powerful enough to where he can actually, you know, have his ultimate goal, which is basically taking Superman, capturing him, retrieving the DNA of every single possible Kryptonian ever to live, and then populating Earth with Kryptonians.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's the thing it brings to mind in this movie is that, you know, when you hear those lines of people like, is he here to rule us? Blah, blah, blah. Do we worship him? Do we like him? Do we trust him? You know, like Holly Hunter is going, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. You know, and you're going, you know, Superman, I wish Superman could go, I actually killed off my own race for you people. Yeah. I mean, I killed the last person from my race because they were going to kill you. And you're not being grateful. But we have a couple of comments here. So starting off at the bottom here, which is Lurod says the second pillar from the left has a signature question mark, which could be from the famous Bat villain. Yes, it is from the Riddler. Also, this is the same look. Also, is this the same location where Superman killed General Zod in Man of Steel? No, it doesn't look like it. Let me actually share that again.
If we're assuming that it's Gotham, that didn't happen in Gotham.
Yeah,
that would have happened in Metropolis.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because it didn't happen in Brooklyn. It happened in Manhattan.
So that's that one. And then let's see. Bradley Letcher says Batman is the only badass that can take on the entire Justice League. Yes, he's done it in the comic books.
Yeah.
Lou Rod asks about Daredevil. Yes, I'll get to that. Let's finish this. He goes, science points to this being the Batplane, but the destruction cause suggests that either we have a much darker Batman than we used to, either that or that someone is trying to frame him, or we know Batman relied on drones in Kingdom Come story. So could be a mixture, could be that, or maybe they do it like Marvel, where you see people explode and fly away and nobody cares.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Which has been noted as an influence in this movie. I was talking about Dark Knight Returns. Okay. Batman on the rooftop with a rifle is another nod to the Dark Knight Returns. If you're not familiar, drop everything and go read it. It's worth your time. Batman is not known for using guns anymore. That is true. And so it is likely being used here in some sort of indirect fashion in Mark Miller's comic. It fires a grapple. But it's just, yeah, we'll see. And then
it just might be, dude, he's dealing with a guy, like I'm saying, is stronger than him. And remember, the most likely what he's doing is has a kryptonite bullet in that thing.
Yeah, but I mean, we
You
have no
know,
idea what stage in the movie this is in.
exactly. So there's so many possibilities. I don't even think it's worth even making a guess at what that rifle is meant for.
And then we see this here. He says the scratches across the headpiece signal the suit is old, or that some fight between Batman and Superman's already happened. Are you referring to the metallic suits?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's referring to the metallic suit, but I think
yeah,
that
the
metallic
metallic suit.
suit might just be, because it was hastily made.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I would agree with you. It might be just the make design, not necessarily because it's not as fine tuned. You can see the net,
Yeah,
the chin guard is very like angular. It's not smooth around it. So
yeah.
yeah, that could be the case there with it. But good points anyway, Lurod. I think in terms of a trailer and excitement, I think this because this is also my theory why this trailer didn't drop immediately after. So this trailer was supposed to drop initially with Mad Max Fury Road, right?
Mhm.
Which is on the 20th, and it's still going to drop then. May 20th, but word came out that it's coming with Avengers, and it looked like um, DC and Marvel, I think, made a deal of some sort. Nothing crazy, but kind of like a respective deal. It's like, hey, we'll drop this here, and you guys can put this trailer here, or whatever the case may be. Like maybe Ant-Man with some other DC movie, WB movie coming up. Then they dropped the teaser before Star Wars, which is fine because it's only 21 seconds. We see Star Wars trailer, and next minute the international trailer leaks completely, and WB refuses to put up the HD trailer onto exactly 24 hours after the fact.
Yeah.
So it means that they either wanted the cycle of Star Wars to kind of die down after a day and then drop their trailer, or they also just kind of mutual respect because they already have some things dealing with Disney and they go, okay, fine, let's just wait.
Or it could be just that, they came up with a pretty decent plan after the facts. What's the best way to handle a leak of this sort? It's a leak of a preview. It's not like the whole movie is leaked. So you spend 24 hours, you make sure that more of the movie isn't leaked. You close that leak, and then you know what you say. You know what? For everybody who's really out there trying to get a glimpse of the movie, here you go, HD version. Enjoy it. Generate some goodwill.
I mean, true. I mean, it's just like they took longer than expected. Because remember, Marvel with the Avengers one, right? Wait, leaked, and they said, but I think they leaked it themselves because
They probably did.
Because immediately they went, oh, damn Hydra, and then boom, dropped it.
Yeah,
so
but you can tell
think
that this one was what's it called? A video camera, a cell phone cam. Yes,
it's a cell phone camera. You could tell it's a cell phone, and there was and word came out that we saw it written in Spanish. That was the South American international trailer, so to speak. So also again, if you have tickets for the IMAX showing, definitely still go, because Schneider says he put a post on Twitter that that's going to have more footage and also exclusive content and some free swag. So
also they're probably going to confiscate your cell phone.
Yeah, you can get. But some rumor is that you might get early screenings for Man of Steel. Like people are just guessing, but because they say they want your email information so they can find out from you. They can send you more information later down the line. So it might be early screenings of the movie in your state, your location, wherever the case may be. So definitely still go, because the supposedly that's supposed to have 2 trailers, according to the breakdown from a legit site. I just can't remember where exactly I saw it. 2 trailers. This one, and then the one with the extra footage will have Wonder Woman and some like another extra 15 or 20 seconds of footage in there. Okay. So definitely go. It's free. It's not like you're paying any money for it in the first place. So definitely see that. So anyway, yeah, that's that. I mean, I think we've covered quite a bit on a 2-minute and like 30-second trailer that actually told us a lot about. I mean, like honestly, this teaser told us more about than Star Wars.
Yeah, no, Star Wars is fan service, obviously.
Yeah.
It was basically saying, hey, look, we're going to give you all these things you loved about the original series and nothing from the series you didn't like, And then, this was more about,
I thought I saw Jar Jar Binks walking around, though.
I think someone killed him in the preview.
Oh yes, right. So when at the beginning when she was riding that bike, she had a hit and run.
She had a hit and run. Yeah, she hit and run Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is dead. Sorry. No. So basically, no. If you look at the way if you just look at the way the preview is done for Batman Superman, I'm hoping that they release more in that vein. So when they introduce each new character in that way, so that we have, before we jump into the movie, we have some kind of idea on where they're coming from. So you don't have to spend a whole freaking movie explaining the motivations. Okay, use the preview, do a voiceover, explain that stuff away, let people do some research, and then give us a movie that kicks ass in the story.
Oh no, I definitely agree. I think, but I will say though, even though like, again, because out of all the characters in this movie, right? And I know why they're showing Wonder Woman. I think they're comfortable enough, and they're showing her early because they want to basically ingrain that this is Wonder Woman. This is, mind you, a year before, because Wonder Woman's role in this movie is said to be very small.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman movie itself hasn't even started filming until September of this year, right?
Yeah. But I think they're comfortable enough, and I think they want to push her into our mindset immediately. Not me say, look, she's gonna be here, she's gonna be around, so just go with it. But what's interesting is that you know, oh wow. Nurod says no. Jar Jar Binks is floating in the water back in Naboo. Oh my god!
Good one.
So the thing about that is that the two actors who I had the least confidence in was, of course, Wonder Woman's character Gal Gadot and Jesse Eisenberg for Lex. Now we haven't seen Wonder Woman, we haven't even seen Jesse, but I still have to give it to him. The best line in that trailer was the Batman line, right? The second best line, I think, was his
the Lex line. Yeah.
Lex line. Wait, and I liked it because of the way he delivered it. You could hear that Jesse Eisenberg, but I could almost see Lex sitting down, like telling somebody like this. It's like, the devil doesn't come from hell beneath us. He comes from the sky. And then you get that like imagery. So I think we're gonna see something more fleshed out. I like the fact that DC has decided wholeheartedly, we're not Marvel. We're not going to make Rockstar superheroes.
Yeah, even with the suit design, they've totally gone very opposite of. If you notice, Marvel has a more leather kind of, except for the Iron Man, obviously, because Iron Man is metal. They go more leather. If you look at the suits these guys have, it looks very much like armor. They're going very metal on it, kind of like chainmail, kind of stuff like that. So I think even in the description of or should I say the makeup of the suits, it looks as though they're going in a very different direction. And I think that's good. That's good to distinguish their world from the Marvel world, which is doing pretty well. So they have to distinguish themselves somehow.
Yeah, a couple of comments here. 101 Gaming TV 101 says, read the logo on the pillar. Yes, thank you. Insanity Man 84 says, when Neil deGrasse Tyson comes on and says his line, when he says being, someone else says alien. Somebody else says alien. Listen to that. Is it Lex? I don't think it's Lex. It might be somebody else. I have no idea.
Yeah, true. Maybe it's multiple people in that particular scene, and we're just hearing a voiceover from actually a scene in the actual movie. So I mean, hearing alien.
There's certain voices that we can recognize, and there are others that we can't. Iceman 89 says, Batsuit looks awesome. I wonder if we're going to see more than 2 Batsuits in this movie. I think it's going to be 2. I think this Batman is not the kind that wears multiple Batsuits. I think he's one, and then necessity, he needs that metal Batsuit no matter what.
No, we don't know, because remember, in the... I think in the Batman Returns or the Dark Knight Returns, I think he had more than 2. I think he had more than 2. He had a traditional batsuit that he wore. He had the one with the armor he used to fight Superman at the end. And I think there was another one in between. I'll go back and I'll read it, but I think there's more than one. He might be wearing more than 2. He might be wearing more than 2 batsuits in this one.
And then Iceman 89 says his voice is modified. He must be using a voice carrier that can change his voice, like the TV show Arrow. Yeah, it's kind of it's not as clean as the Arrow. It sounds more like the Flash, Dr. Zoom, where the Flash just says he vibrates his vocal cords, but it literally sounds closer to that. in terms of voice modification. So, and that actually help. I like the way they do in the Flash because it actually sounds like not. I mean, an evil character. This one, Batman, just sounds like he's he's badass in this. And then Brian Lercher says, I believe Lex has everyone brainwashed or hypnotized to some level into thinking Superman is evil. I don't think brainwashed or hypnotized. I think Lex will come out and give very strong arguments, but not even in public per se. Like he could give, because the way Lex has been in the comic books is in public, it's always been that very, yeah, Superman, I want you here type of guy. And then when he's talking to Mercy, because we know Mercy's in this movie. Mercy is played by a Chinese actress. I can't remember her name, but a Chinese or Japanese actress. I could be wrong, but I know she's an Asian actress. So he could be saying that to her, or maybe one of his henchmen or something like that. But Lex is not going to say that in public. Guarantee you that he will be all inviting to the alien. He probably want to host a banquet for him, or whatever the case may be. But then I could be wrong. It could be a whole different Lex altogether. So, that's something there. Let's see. The best thing about the movie is its dark tone, says Lou Rod. And off topic, yes, Furious 7 hit $1 billion already.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it had a big opening in China. It's going to be $1 billion plus. I mean, it's only 2.5 weeks or almost 3 weeks out, and it's at $1 billion. I mean, it's tracking very, very well for a movie like that. And then last question for Leroy. He says, when are we doing Daredevil review? I said we'll do a hangout review of Daredevil. Do you want to do one on Sunday, Sam?
We can try to do it. We can try. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because prior commitments on Sunday, but we can try to fit it in.
Yeah, because I did promise that. I mean, I went through that show really fast. It's a good show. I definitely suggest anyone to go watch Daredevil, but we'll give you our review on that there. And let's see. Did you just send me something?
Yeah, I just sent you an image with an image from The Dark Knight Returns with Batman with the sniper rifle. That's all.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay. I'll send it later then.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that is it. Please leave your thoughts on the trailer, the breakdown we gave through. I'll post the images up on the Hangout page and link that back to this video so you guys can check out all the images from the trailer. But if you have any questions or any comments, please let us know. Again, we want to hear your thoughts. We'll answer questions if you have any. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support our work. And always enjoy entertainment.